Hey there, fellow REITs investors. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is part of a regular update I provide on the Dividend Uncle channel, sharing the REITs I've recently bought and the few more that's currently on my watch list. From your feedback, I think this has been one of the more useful videos. Not because I'm right, definitely not, but because it gives a window into my thinking of individual REITs, and also how I apply the discussions on current market conditions into making investing decisions. But if sharing my thought process helps you clarify your own decisions, whether you agree with me or not, then I think that's value already. And let's be upfront. The past month has seen a broad rally across Singapore REITs. That tailwind definitely helped the recent buys perform well. But whether these turn out to be truly good investments? That depends on how things unfold over the longer term. After all, we're long-term investors. Most of the time, but occasionally, when the opportunity feels timely, I may make a more tactical move too, and you'll see a real-life example of that in this video. CLAR. Buying more of this core REIT, here's why. Let's start with one of the largest and most stable REITs in Singapore, CapitaLand Ascendas REIT, or CLAR. For those newer to REIT investing, CLAR is a heavyweight in the industrial and business space segment, with a whopping 16.9 billion Singapore dollars worth of assets across Singapore, Australia, the US, and Europe. Its largest exposure is in Singapore, making up about 65% of its portfolio, which I personally like, especially in the current environment where Singapore assets are seen as relatively more resilient. CLAR is also one of my core REIT holdings, and I added more recently after its 700 million Singapore dollars acquisition of new Singapore properties. Now, some investors were worried that the private placement for this acquisition, priced at $2.47 per unit, might weigh on the share price, and that's a valid concern. After all, when new units are issued at a lower price, it can temporarily dilute existing holders. But here's why I remained positive. First, I believe this acquisition strengthens CLAR's Singapore footprint at a time when local exposure is highly valued. Second, the properties acquired have rents that are up to 15% below current market rates, which means there's potential upside as leases get renewed or repriced. Operationally, CLAR is still in good shape. Occupancy sits at 91.5%, which is healthy given the current market. And in Q1 2025, they achieved a strong positive rental reversion of 11%, meaning the new leases signed were, on average, 11% higher than the previous ones. That tells us demand for its properties is holding up well. On top of that, the current dividend yield is around 5.5%, which is attractive for a REIT of this scale and quality. Of course, I couldn't buy at the private placement price, but there was a stretch of share price weakness around the placement and that's when I went in.